Hi everyone! Not every person dreams of becoming wealthy. However, the desire to be successful and respected lies so deep within us that no matter what they say, it is impossible to resist it. There are many different ways to achieve your goals. Some are noble, like when a person finds the cause of his life and works hard to become successful. Others, not so much. For example, when you have to lie, betray, and trick people. Today, we have prepared 3 stories about people who have chosen the easy but tricky way to wealth. How did it work out for them? Let's find out. According to public perception, rich people live in luxury mansions, drive the most expensive cars, and only wear clothes from the most fashionable brands. And this is actually the case. However, as you know, there are exceptions to every rule. In our first story, a 68-year-old millionaire and landowner Marcel Mfo became such an exception. The thing is, if you met him on the street, you would never think this person owns a fortune. Well, you have little chance to meet him anyway. Marcel Mfo lived the solitary life of a hermit for most of his life. His wooden cabin with no electricity or running water was located in the French Alps. He also owned 5 more cabins on the slopes near the Puy-Saint-Paris commune. Marcel could demolish these cabins, build chalets there, and become incredibly rich, but he didn't want to do it. Thanks to his modest lifestyle, he was able to accumulate huge wealth. He lived, as some said, like a bear, and was more than happy with his life. His friends and family members also lived in the cabins. The man did not charge any rent from them. An elderly man did not like to leave his native land, so the probability of him marrying someone was almost 0. But a miracle happened and Marcel met a woman named Sandrine de Villiard. Sandrine, who was 21 years younger than Marcel, knocked on the door of his cabin in 2010. She allegedly had one specific goal: to buy land. And although Marcel refused, it seemed to her that she could still get something much more expensive and valuable. Sandrine invited the man to dinner. Then, to the great surprise of the people, these two fell in love. But if you think that the couple split up soon after that, you're wrong. Marcel was incredibly flattered by the attention of a beautiful woman, and so, just 1 year later, they got married. The odd couple wed in the town hall of Puy-Saint-Paris, in a village with no more than 500 people. On that day, the difference between the 2 newlyweds was especially striking. She was a beautiful woman, wearing an expensive, elegant dress. She had earrings and necklace. He was an elderly, toothless man with disheveled hair, dressed in a shabby suit. Yes, love knows no age or bounds. However, everyone around thought that something was wrong with this union. It seemed suspicious that the young woman could ever take interest in this elderly man. Even at the wedding, some of the guests loudly protested their union, pointing out to scam and saying that Sandrine only needed Marcel's money, not his love. Further events were even more mysterious. After the wedding, Sandrine returned to her beloved Paris. Marcel remained in the Alps in a cabin which he refused to leave. It sounds weird, but Marcel and Sandrine, whose love was supposed to be very strong, almost never saw each other. The wife visited her husband on occasions and dismissed all questions. Marcel is a man from the Middle Ages, even prehistoric times, Sandrine explained. The newlywed couple barely met. It is not clear what Sandrine thought of when she decided to marry Marcel. Well, actually, it became pretty clear later, and now you will learn it too. A year after the wedding, Marcel died in a mysterious car accident. Marcel, together with Sandrine and 2 friends, were driving in a car when the driver suddenly lost control of the vehicle. An elderly man was the only person who died in the accident. Sandrine, like her friends, made it out in one piece, suffering only minor scratches. Of course, this tragedy instantly sparked rumors. People said that this was a murder, and Sandrine had something to do with the accident, but they did not find evidence, and therefore no case was opened. At the funeral, Sandrine looked devastated. She mourned her beloved husband as she was supposed to. But this is not a story about true love, because very soon the woman showed her real face to everyone. Marcel, despite his life of a hermit, had friends and family, but Sandrine didn't care about them at all. She announced that she was Marcel's sole heir. This statement was not unsubstantiated. She saw the will with her own eyes and was sure that she was right. She even ordered to evict everyone from her land, but turned out that shortly before his death, Marcel had revised his will. It was obviously written in a hurry, on the reverse side of some envelope. Despite the flimsy appearance, the document was authorized by the notary and therefore had legal force. That's what the man decided to do with his wealth. He left all of his possessions and cabins to his family and friends. Perhaps Marcel suspected something and understood that he did not have long to live. Or maybe he decided to play the most epic joke of his life. In any case, the gold digger's plans were ruined. Sandrine received nothing. You may think she had it coming, and we agree with you. Life is complicated. Sometimes it forces people into desperate situations and it's simply impossible to find the way out. Our second story for today is about one of such situations. It happened in 2016-2017 when a 48-year-old Somali-born woman named Arafa Nassib moved to the UK. Most likely, the woman had no idea how difficult her life would become in the future. Well, she obviously didn't expect her desire for luxury to be that strong. In order to furnish her new unreasonably expensive house, located in Walsall, West Midlands, she took an £80,000 loan from the bank. Nassib was also trying to find an additional £80,000 to smuggle members of her family, living in a Tanzanian refugee camp, to the UK. It soon became clear that the woman simply would not be able to pay off her debts. It was then that she came up with the seemingly brilliant idea. Arafa Nassib decided to fake her own death. The plan was pretty simple. Friends from Zanzibar would prepare a fake death certificate, which would say she died in this city in a car accident. Her 18-year-old son, Adil Qasim, was supposed to give this certificate to the insurance company. The fraud could bring the family about £136. Of course, it would still not be enough to fully cover all the debts, but still, it is better than nothing. Arafa was supposed to hide in Canada at this time. Everything went smoothly, and it seemed that very soon all debts would be paid, but the insurance company suspected something was wrong. The insurance officers referred the case to the police, and the scam was revealed. The grave of a woman was not found in Zanzibar, and the doctor who issued the death certificate was not even at the office on that day. Now that woman will have to pay the debt after she serves 2.5 years in prison. Her son was sentenced to a year of community service. This is our last story for today. It happened in London a few years ago. It all started when a girl named Marcia Henderson agreed to marry a man who was 50 years older than her. At the time of the wedding, in 2004, Newton Davies, a retired bus driver, turned 76 years old. 11 years later, the man died at the age of 85. Of course, he left a will, but that was definitely not what his young wife expected it to be. According to Newton's last will, she only got £25,000. He decided to leave the rest of his money to his daughter and an old friend. More specifically, his daughter got £430,000 and his friend received £140,000. These events, which happened in 2013, shook Marcia so much that it took her 2 years to come up with the revenge plan. In the spring of 2015, the woman came to court with a new will of her husband, allegedly dated November 2011, which is 3 months later than the original will. Marcia said that she found the paper by accident in the attic of her dead husband's London home. The situation got even more absurd when she claimed the will was wrapped up in an empty pack of Doritos. It was not clear how the document appeared in such a weird place. However, the will, which the woman suddenly found 2 years after her husband's death, was much more favorable for her. The new document left just £20,000 to his daughter, £25,000 to friends, and the rest, about £550,000, to his young wife. Sounds mysterious, right? The judge also decided that the story sounds suspicious. First, the deceased Newton was too old to get to the attic. Secondly, according to friends, he never ate Doritos. And thirdly, the will had been written on an A4 piece of paper, which could not fit in such a small pack. Not to mention the fact that there was a mistake in the document. The will said her last will instead of his last will. And the deceased was obviously a man. That's how one of the most ridiculous scams in the history of Great Britain was revealed. As punishment for this attempt of fraud, the daughter of Davies demanded that Marcia hand over £42,000 to cover the time she had been occupying her father's home while the row over the wills had been ongoing.